seriously. Okay, well, we're actually live now, so welcome to Connecting with Carrie. I'm the host, producer, the girl with the most, Carrie Johnson, and welcome to, I guess this is my second season, so I've been doing this for almost a year now, and you are my episode number 4 for my second season, so welcome.
Crazy.
So we're starting awesome. A little bit late, but that's okay because it's really late for you over there. 4 hours ahead. But thank you for joining me in this.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Nothing but Red Bull is kind of what I've been doing these days anyways. So
nothing but Red Bull. Cheers. Here's my water.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. I've been, trying to drink healthy because that's the way to go.
Yeah, totally. Honestly, like I said, I'm notorious for sleeping in, going to bed at like a disgusting hour, and I don't drink like any water. So that's kind of how my life's going these days.
Not good.
Not good. Don't do as I do.
Just listen to his music and don't do as he does.
Exactly.
First of all, for those of you that are joining us, of course, this is Levi. He is an upcoming artist. I guess well, I don't even know if he's like upcoming because you kind of have music out there. Sort of.
I don't really know what I am. I've been doing it for a while, but I think it's like anything. I'm a massive fan of pretty much every art form, so I try to look at things from multiple different angles. Like I look at stand-up as like one of my favorite art forms, and those guys, they don't really break through the barrier until like, a lot of them 10 years in is when they finally get a break. And I think in a way it's a really good thing because this year I put out a song, Let It Go, that it didn't go, off and go crazy, but I think it was a cool experience because I got to see what it's like to take my time with something and put out a song with a video that is all, things that I kind of nitpicked over, and I think it takes time. So just to start off, like any artist that is listening, if you are an artist or an aspiring artist, like don't think it's just gonna be like, let me put a song. For some people, but like it's gonna take time. You got to keep working on it, but if you love it,
Yeah. For those of you watching and tuning in as well, so Levi and I, we met. It was it was December. No, it wasn't December. It was like November, October, November.
I think it was cold for sure.
It was cold. I think was it 2018?
I think so. That seems crazy. I think I had just dropped out of school. So whenever that was. Yeah,
it was at the Neon Dreams concert here in Calgary. And it was actually really, really dope because I remember thinking like, okay, I really wanted to see Neon Dreams because I'm a huge fan of them. Yeah. I have been for several years. Well, not several years, a few years. Yep. I remember like they put out their song Marching Bands, and then I listened to it on the radio and I was like, this is so cool. I love it. I love the beat. I love the lyrics. I loved it all. So I was like, I threw it up on my Instagram. Literally, it's a blue post and it says Ocean Avenue with like a sign on it. And then I remember posting it up and it wasn't, but a day later, Neon Dreams liked it. And then they started following me. And I was like, this is awesome. So dope.
Yeah, they're the best. And it's really cool to see people like them, winning and continue. That song came out a while ago now, but they just continue to put out music that's evolving and just keeps getting better and better. And as an artist, like underneath of them, I'm on their independent label they started, Dreaming Out Loud. And for me, especially just kind of coming into the game and getting to listen and learn from them, it's like the best possible scenario, at least for me, just how I work, because not only are they such good dudes, and I mean that, just really genuinely, they're also like, they take what they do very seriously and they take what I do very seriously. And I'm able to kind of talk to them about anything. And they work on, they work on the music with me too, which has been a huge blessing. Adrian, you know, he's, I guess, quote unquote, the drummer of the band, but he's not. Like, he does everything, you know.
Yeah.
He'll jump in the session with me, and within 10 seconds he knows the guitar loop, and then he goes plays down the bass, and then goes and like helps with drums, you know.
Takes over. Really,
Yeah,
he takes over the show.
It's really something. So yeah.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like the nice thing though, is because I've been friends with them on Instagram, and we're close friends, and so I get to kind of see behind the scenes a little bit. I get to see the music that they're putting out, and I actually get to see you growing up with them and everything too. And I'm like, this is so dope. And then, because ever since we met at their little concert, which was great because it was so small and intimate, if you were at a bigger venue, we probably wouldn't have met at all.
Totally,
and so it was just like, it was so awesome to meet everyone and see you face to face and get to meet the guys face to face. Everyone's so humble, so awesome. And I was like, hey, this is so great. And at that time I was working at another radio station, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get those guys on and be able to interview them, but it didn't happen. Yeah. So anyway, that's my next step, is getting them on. But I really
stuck with me.
Yeah, no, but you know what? I'm actually really glad that I did get you first anyway, because they've been kind of helping you kind of mold yourself into the musician that you are today. And you know, it's kudos to them, but I really wanted to have you on because you have been working literally your ass off over the past couple years, and I've been seeing that. Like, all you have to do is look on someone's Instagram and kind of look at their feed, and then you see each little step as they're growing, and that's like the coolest thing. And so like, that's what I see. And then not just that, but then your mom messages me.
Oh yeah, she's hilarious. She's literally like my manager. She's gotten me a lot of gigs, actually, just from like, sometimes she'll just message me and I started out doing comedy. I started out rapping. I loved it just because I was really into poetry, and I felt the two went hand in hand. Anyways, she got me a gig doing comedy shows, and so people would go up and my buddy James Mullinger, who was doing all of these like shows around my city because he had just moved here, who would go on to, you know, shoot. He does a magazine, The Maritime Edit, now, and he's just got he's got a fantastic career. But at the time, I was going in there just based off of my mom being like, hey, I got a gig for you. Go to this comedy show. I was like, wouldn't that be a little bit weird if I do this at a comedy show? So I go there. Yeah. They don't have a sound system at all. No. Which James didn't know. I didn't know. It was a new club. The guy, you know, is such a great dude. He was just kind of trying to get it started. Yeah. And I was like, hey, like, what am I supposed to do? I have music I need to play. And he was like, hey, man, I don't know. So I told everybody it was slam poetry, and I cut out the choruses and just like said the verses and put more emphasis on stuff. And I have never sold more CDs than that night, which was hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So she's
that's kind of, like you were saying, because I was watching your other interview there the other day, and then you guys were talking about how like sometimes there will be artists and they're doing their concerts, and then all of a sudden they forget the lyrics. Then they end up doing like freestyle.
Yeah, I've done that. There's been so many times where I've forgotten verses and stuff, because I think sometimes you get a little cocky with it and you think that you know every song and like you'll practice it, but you don't actually. I never go back and read the lyrics, so I'll, you know, if two things are rhyming, I'll mess them up, and then it sets you off. And next thing you know, you're like, verse 2 is a completely new verse that you just wrote on stage, and everybody's like, oh, that's interesting.
Oh, you're like, oh, this is the unreleased version.
Yeah, this was the first demo.
That's all you just say. You just like, well, now you guys get to know what happened behind the scenes before I actually released it.
That's way back anyway, so everybody was just like, I have no idea who this kid is. I've never heard this song, so they had no idea. I could have just made up.
Like, oh, it's just Levi, and then I pushed it in, whatever.
Yeah.
Probably. Who knows? But yeah, that's so cool, because I think that's one really important thing as an artist and as a performer, is being able to laugh at yourself, for one.
Oh, yeah.
And just being able to wing it when you have to, and but really just have fun with it too, because otherwise If you're
Yeah.
too stressed over it, then what's the use, right? Like, why?
Yeah, there's definitely a balance there. Like in one sense, you have to be very serious about it because it is like it's a I'm not going to go and say it's a hard job because I know there's people doing very difficult jobs. But
Yeah,
mentally, just if you're touring, a big thing I learned, like it's not all what everybody thinks it is. Like a lot of the time, you're with your boys in a van driving for like I mean, me and Adrian have done trips where we drive like 36 hours in a couple days just
crazy.
straight,
Yeah.
and and then you unload the gear, and it's just it's a definitely an interesting job. Oh, something just cut out. Not sure what. Hello. Oh, okay. I've just been informed that the power went out, but that's okay because you got me now. Um, yeah. So that's kind of what the touring life is like. It's a really great thing, and it's kind of a double edged sword. So on one end, you want to keep things you know semi serious because of the work, but you have to have a sense of humor because of that. Like you're doing endless amount of driving uh, to get to the next drive. And a lot of the times before I met Neon, like just obviously getting paid $50 for a show that you spent $60 getting there, you kind of have to be able to joke about it because those times are kind of a mess. And as you can see, it hasn't paid off monetarily in a crazy way yet. That's why I am speaking to you with tape around my headphones. But man, there's like some things just like that. I got my headphones like this just because you get that sentimental value attached to it. I got these from a homie of mine, and they just never seem to fail. It's like that good shirt that you had since high school that you're like, this shirt is actually gross, but I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it going because I couldn't bring myself to throw it out. So yeah, I started out rapping for a while, and it's interesting because the way that I have created kind of, I don't want to say I created my own genre because I know kind of everybody says that, but that's kind of what I feel like a lot of musicians are trying to do nowadays, especially people that started out in hip hop, is like you can really do whatever you want to do. I think people are starting to kind of take reins of that. If you listen to some of the new stuff, I know this song's a little bit old, but Old Town Road by Lil Nas X, like he's blending genres and it sounds amazing. Post Malone's been blending genres recently a lot. Like he starts out with like sort of a hip hop esque sound, and I know at first he got a little bit of hate, but now he's making like super hip hop sounding tracks. He's making a pop song on the same record, and then he has like these kind of indie tracks. I guess you would say Circles has kind of that indie sound. I would say that. I might be wrong. That's just kind of what my ear catches. So you can really do whatever you want now. And if you get the chance to listen to it, my last single, Let It Go, and the video is up on YouTube. Just type in Let It Go, Levi Rowan, and you can hear what I'm trying to do in that track. It's blending. Like I want to have the hip hop flows that I grew up doing rather, and then I try to implement like I really love singing in falsetto now. I was really uncomfortable to sing at first. I would sing in coffee houses and stuff when I was a kid, but I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like you you know what an odd job to get up in front of a bunch of people and start making sounds with your face, and then everybody kind of judges whether or not they like it. So as you can imagine, when you start out, it's a little nerve wracking, and I was a little nervous to start. But there's something about rapping to me is it became so comfortable with the flow patterns, and I really got more obsessed with. Excuse me, I get really more obsessed with just figuring out flow patterns, and I became more comfortable at singing through vocal coaching and just doing it all the time. And then eventually you're able to bring back those old patterns once you're comfortable enough. You're like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize that in my back pocket I had all these rap flows that I became accustomed to. Now I can blend it in. So anybody that's an aspiring artist as well, I know aspiring, if you're this and that, like, I really know, but my thing is, don't limit yourself and box yourself into one area, because there's a good chance that you're going to be able to. Hey, there she is.
Literally, my power went out for like 2 seconds, and I was like, "Oh damn, okay."
That's hilarious. Yeah, no.
This is like it literally flickered, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I did, like, even Jesse at the radio station. He's like, "It's really windy here in Lethbridge." Lethbridge, I don't even know if you know where it is from Calgary, but it's a couple of hours away. But anyway, and so I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever," because it wasn't windy here yet. But then the wind just picked up right as we kind of went on. But anyway,
I just kept it going. I just ran with it.
So I told I messaged you. I'm like, just keep going, going, because you have to.
I just had that thought, and it's interesting. Like, I just find it really cool how there's kind of a wave of artists now that are switch. Like, I was using Post Malone as an example. Like, he goes on a hip hop track, and then on the same album he has a pop song, and then on the same album he has kind of like the indie, like circles.
I love that.
Yeah, like, I love that, and I think you can do that now. And so just for anybody that's making music, I think it's time for people to just kind of be like creating their own genres and stuff. And I don't think people should let themselves be boxed into just having one sound. Like, you can be inspired by hip hop and bring those flows into your new song, and just makes it that much better. Anyways,
I love it. I love like the mashups, and I love like how like even collaborations of like hip hop and country and rock.
Yeah, exactly. Lil Nas X, when he did that, everybody was like, "This is crazy." I was like, "Not really, man. Like, this is how things need to progress in order for music to just become not one thing."
Exactly. Well, you have to grow with it too. Like, not a lot of people know, but ideally, music, it came from classical music, and then all the different genres kind of popped up. Using, like, if you listen to any song, there's classical music in it. Like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's all basic. So it's kind of really cool to listen to classical and be like, oh, I heard this in another song, because it's all over the place. So it's super cool. Definitely. And then just being able to have an imagination to mix things up, I think, is like,
that's the most fun part too, being able to listen to a beat and be like, we could take it in a million different directions, and now we actually can. We don't have to stick to the same, formula.
Right? Exactly. So let's talk about your music, because I don't know if I'll pop out again or what's going to happen.
That's okay.
Because I, want to stick also with, our 40 minutes or so. But
sure, yeah.
But yeah, like, how did you, really get into music? Like, what really made you be like, I want to do this? Was there like a moment where you're like, oh, I saw someone perform and I want to do that? Or was it just like you heard it, a music video, or, you know what I mean? Like, what was like your aha moment?
It was a couple of things. Like, a big thing that got me really into hip hop is my sister had a boyfriend at the time, and I remember going to the mall with her, and she was like, I really need this Kanye CD. Like, I really need it because that's his favorite artist and whatever. And I was like, oh, Kanye, who's that? And this was when I think College Dropout. It was either College Dropout or it was Graduation. I think it might have been Graduation. And I'm 22 now, so for me, I don't remember exactly when it came out, but I was still kind of a young kid, and I heard that record, and I was just like, wow, this is, this dude is just so talented. He's still one of my favorite artists you know, everything else aside, I know he's definitely got a lot of stuff going on, but the
Yeah.
music is undeniably good for me. And I heard that and I was really inspired by it. And also my brother's in a band called Motherhood out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, who've been getting a lot of recognition recently. But when I was younger, my parents took me to a couple of their shows, and I just remember seeing my brother. He plays drums, and I was just looking at him because you see your family kind of like in and out of your house. You know, he like slaps you in the face once when you're playing a video game. You know, he's just that's kind of the vibe when you're growing up, and then I saw him on stage, and first of all, he looked like a superhero to me because I just thought it was so crazy that it's like it literally is like Superman. You see him with the glasses, and then he goes and changes, and next thing you know, he's Superman. I saw him up there. I was like, that's insane. And you could feel the energy exchange between the audience and the band, and I was a part of it. So I loved that aspect of it, and then also the respect that people that I knew gave him when he was off stage. And he was like pouring sweat because he really goes in, and it's just such a cool thing to see, and I was like, I want to do that now.
Wow. So it's just your brother. That's so cool. Because I've seen you. Where did I see your brother? Maybe some posts or something that you probably put up, or some stories or whatever. And it's just like, I think it's really cool to see how families can, they have that talent in the family, and then it's just like one person has it, but really everyone sort of has it.
Yeah, my family's pretty crazy like that. Like that's my oldest brother, and then the other brother that's 3 years older than me is a pianist, and he creates all of his own pieces, and they're really like insane. And then my sister was in multiple bands, and she's one of the honestly, she doesn't really release a whole lot of music, but I've written a lot of songs with her just because her like chorus game is insane. She can write a chorus that it's like she doesn't have to say a lot, and yet it just seems like she sat down for like a month working on it, and it just comes out. So hopefully she'll get something popping here soon, because I see that. And that's
she just wants to do like songwriting. Is that what she kind of wants to do, or?
I don't even know if she really wants to do any of it. Some people are just like gifted, and then they're just like, whatever. Yeah. I respect it. She's making a lot of money doing her job, so she's a nurse now.
Aw, yeah, she's helping out then in major ways right now. So Aw, good for her. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's all. Shout out to sisters everywhere, and shout outs to our frontline workers or whatever part she's doing.
Actually, my brother's a nurse too, crazy enough. So the whole family picked the right or wrong time to be a nurse, I guess you could say.
So you just play music for them while they're, on their downtime so that they can relax.
Yeah, I definitely send them a lot of stuff too. I like to get their opinion on things, but they just have good ears for music.
Yeah. So when they listen to your music, and when your mom listens to your music, are they very critical, or do they just be like, oh, this is really good and whatever? Or do they really pick it apart? Like,
yeah, it really depends. Like I've definitely showed my family songs, and it's like a pretty good litmus test, I guess, because there's been times where I've shown songs to them and they were just like, this is bad. Like it's not. Okay. Yeah, so they will tell me if it's bad. I feel like I'm at a point now where I don't really send people or show people stuff that I'm kind of like, I don't know. I usually get pretty confident about it first and then want to see what's happening. So there hasn't been any moments recently that I sent a song and it was like, this is terrible, but that's happened.
This is horrible.
This is horrible. Yeah, why would you send anybody this? Yeah.
Please don't ever share this ever again. It's true.
They're like, move.
Just get another day job, okay, man?
Yeah.
Totally. If you weren't singing, what would you be doing, do you think?
Oh, I have no idea. I went to university for a year and just grinded it out, and I absolutely hated it, and I dropped out. The marks were fine, but it's just people. I always, when I was younger, I used to hear people say, which is actually hilarious now that I think about it. I used to hear people always say, like, it's not for me. They used to always say that. It's not for me. And I was like, but you wasted a bunch of money then if it's not for you and you're halfway through it. And then I went and I did that, and now I'm that person.
Like,
So
oh, but it's not for me.
yes, and I say, yeah, it wasn't for me. But I have no idea what I'd be doing, honestly. Probably just, I wouldn't mind being like a bartender or something. That seems fun. Other than that, I don't really know. When I was a kid, I thought I was going to be a plastic surgeon because I watched Nip Tuck a lot, and I thought,
Look,
and
I
then
can do that.
yeah, I was like, oh, cool, they're rich. That sounds fun, man. It's so
Your
it's
mom bought
so,
you operation. Here you go, Levi. Have fun.
yeah, yeah. It's
And
so funny how when you're younger, like I just made a video about this and posted it. It's like when you're younger, you really think, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go and do that. And then you
yeah.
get older and things start to be like, oh yeah, okay,
Oh,
there's a few things that I could probably do. That is if I even try. So
yeah. Especially
yeah,
like a surgeon. You think about all the years at school and
15 years, I couldn't make it through two. It's like, what was I thinking?
yeah. And
Yeah,
it's kind of like a good thing that you found out that you weren't good at something before you invested
yeah,
15
totally.
years of your life into something and so much money. And then you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, the thing is too is like I don't know if I don't know if everybody's like this, but for me, like I am so lazy if it's not something that I'm obsessive about. Like yeah, it's like I love doing music because I wake up and I think about it, and if I'm having a conversation, I do this like kind of ignorant thing where if somebody's talking to me and I have a melody, I'll be like 1 second, like I have to interrupt because I'm afraid of losing it because what if whatever, and
Yeah.
when you notice that about yourself, you're like, okay, this is something I love. Whereas in class, like I could make the marks, but then at the end of the day, I was just so unhappy. So
Yes. I know
yeah,
I'm kind of the same. Like, I wasn't always in radio. Like, well, for my day job, I do cleaning and stuff like that.
yep,
Um, but anyway, like when I started working at the other radio station, I just fell in love with it. And the
yeah,
only reason why I actually was working there was because my day job slowed down. And I was like, oh, I
okay,
need to find something else and
yeah,
whatever. And so I like was on Indeed and I'm searching through and I'm like, oh, here's a little radio position. Why not try
yeah,
it? It was more or less kind of like a college station. And anyway, but it was fun. And then I was like, this is so great. And then things got slow there. But anyway, everyone was like, hey, Carrie, you're so good at this and whatever. And why don't you just start your own? And I was like, okay.
all right, yeah.
Okay.
Especially in today's
You
age,
know,
like we see a lot of the like for instance, even television, like the
yeah,
idea of a company just pumping a bunch of money into a set for like a sitcom and these things when there's like
oh,
kids on TikTok making a, a joke, like that's why I know that app gets a lot of hate, but I love that app because
yeah,
it's like whether people like it or not, it is kind of the future because we realize that, especially now, is like
yeah.
we can't always rely on investing 30 minutes into a show when like we have other things to do. Sometimes if you want to laugh, you just want to see 15 seconds of something. Let's move on.
And it gets you
um,
creative too. Like, it's
yeah,
not like, especially if it's a set show. Like, well, these shows that we're on now with Jess TV and Jess FM that I do for Connected with Carrie, these shows are great because I interview a bunch of different people. It's not always artists, it's
yeah,
entrepreneurs and people that are kind of helping in our communities or just amazing stories that, people come to me and they're like, hey, you should interview so and so. And it's like,
this
okay,
is like a podcast though. In my
but
mind, I see
yeah,
this kind of like
well,
that
yeah, it
in a
is.
very positive way because to me that's kind of just long form conversation is
Yeah,
my favorite thing. Like I would way rather listen to you interview somebody for 40 minutes than I would go and really do anything else entertainment wise because I feel like I'm actually learning something, whether it's like a little bit of knowledge from there's just something to
yeah.
learn out of it, whereas I feel like yeah, there's just
Yeah, it's more
other
personal too. Like, I really love hearing how people started their things or what journeys they're on,
yeah,
or just their little bit of information of like not a textbook learning, but life lessons. You know what I mean? The street smarts,
yeah,
because
totally,
that's like the thing. But I was going to go back to TikTok, just saying how I love it. It's so creative. Like, I'm on there, but I hardly use it. I'm
yeah, yeah,
always I'm just scrolling through everything and I'm sending it to friends because I'm laughing my
Yeah.
ass off. And I'm like, oh, this is so funny because
Yeah.
they're being so creative. And then they get into like the whole, one fad of this and one fad of that. The whole
Yep.
Nelly one right now is just killing me. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just, but
Yeah. And
I love
I
it because
think
it shows just like that funny side of someone or that personal side and
totally.
something that someone might not want to share necessarily like up on stage. Because when you're on
Yeah.
stage performing, you are not necessarily Levi, you are that performer, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have an alternate type of a person up there, which a lot of
Yeah.
people don't understand. It's true. Any performer, you're on stage, you are on stage, you are in that moment.
Yeah.
Whereas, TikToks are fun and you can goof around and then you can kind of see like your little attitude in there and
Yeah. You
it's
can really
fun.
be yourself.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
people can comment and whatever, and that's also why, like, yeah, it's kind of almost relatable to my show. Whereas it's fun, you can come on, you can be yourself because other radio stations that do this kind of stuff, it's very formal, very like, okay, I've got 10 questions. Where are you
Yeah.
from? What's the city? What color do you like? Whatever. It's like almost like a first date, and you're going,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been there,
Yeah.
I've done this a million times over, and
Yeah, and then it gets
you
it's
know,
almost uncomfortable because then
yeah,
every answer needs to be perfect, or else I would be worried about like, if I would have said this, maybe people would have thought this, and if
yeah,
you're talking all the time, you can get comfortable quicker. And
yeah,
yeah, the other thing about these like new apps, like I love Instagram, but I watched this video of this dude and he kind of explained how I felt really well. But
yeah.
there's something about Instagram where um, I don't feel like I can really be myself. I don't know what it is.
Mm,
I have some sort of like dignity. That's the
okay.
word that this dude used. He said there's like a
Yeah.
dignity to uphold on that app. I think it's because you're like everybody and everybody. It's all photos. For the most
Hmm.
part, I don't get a chance to really joke around. Or you're worried that if I joke around on that app, people are going to be like, yo, do you really mean this? And it's like, no, it's a joke. But
Yeah.
TikTok is just like, you can joke around, say whatever you want. And like, if people don't like it, they'll let you know. But for the most part, it's people you don't know. And
Yeah.
I love
Which is
that.
great. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Instagram too, like I find, well, for me, my own personal Instagram, I actually started off, mine was just personal. It was like, okay, this
Yeah.
is me, whatever. But then it ended up becoming more of my business one.
Business
So I'm
one.
like,
Yeah.
well, maybe I'll just kind of make a new personal one or whatever down the road. But I kind of like, I look at it almost like a resume in a type for some people.
Definitely.
For
Yeah.
artists too, like I said, it's your journey.
Yep.
So I can look at it and be like, okay, Levi started here. He was this little kid banging on his mom's drums one day, and then now he's like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
performer on stage, opening up for Neon Dreams, and now he's under their record label. And I'm going, wow, like, and it wasn't that long. Like, it only took
Right.
you a few years, and here you are. But
Right.
I get that sense too of like, well, I want to kind of have my fun moments, but I don't want people to kind of see that
Yeah.
one and it's like
Yeah.
but I think stories are pretty good for that, like you can kind of put
Stories are great for
little
that.
fun
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
but you I think you have to be careful sometimes of, but I don't know,
Oh, yeah.
I'm one
You're
of
right.
those
You gotta be
people like,
careful.
I don't know, like I like to be one of those people like, don't let people just judge you. I think
Yeah.
everyone's got their own journey, their own stories, and it's like, you know what, you want to think one way about me, go ahead, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, especially if you're in, this type of industry, you gotta kind of quickly get over those type of things where like you need to let people in and let people know how you're feeling and what you're all about. Like if I'm
Yeah,
super anxious or if just feeling bad one day, um, then I'm just gonna, if I'm on a live, like I'll just talk about it because I know that a lot of the people that like my music, they don't like it just because of the melodies and stuff. It's
yeah,
a lot of the time because of what I'm talking about. I have a song called Night Terrors that I put out I mean, I think it was like a year ago now, but
yeah,
yeah, I just kind of there there's content in there, and I try to do this with every song, is like I want people to just be able to listen to it and have a good time, but I always want there to be something in there that if you dig into it, you're gonna if you're going through something, you might be able to get something out of it. Or
yeah.
I want to just make it's either for me that, or I just want to make a song that makes people happy. I used to
Mhm.
make a lot of music that was very dark and kind of sad, and I was like, all right,
Yeah.
well, how did I like? I think just what's the purpose? Like, am I making music that is going to make a kid feel better? And you can do that with sad music, but there has to be some sort of driving message or force behind that in order to do that. And if I'm just going to
Mhm.
be like, you should be sad because it's cool. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
kind of the thing too, is I think you have to be at a point where you understand music and what the message is. Because I think younger kids, they just listen to it and they want to kind of be like that person, right? So
I
you
did
have
it.
to be very careful of like
Yeah,
what kind of music you're putting out for the younger generation, or being, like on these types of platforms saying, well, okay, this is about my story when I was little.
yeah,
I was sad at this or whatever, but I'm here to represent and be a more positive influence, not
yeah,
how I used to be. And you have to kind of say it was my journey of growing, because some kids don't get that, and it's important to realize like you don't want them going down a darker road too,
yeah,
but they might relate in some cases. But
yeah,
I do know a lot of artists that I have interviewed, they've kind of gone through that. They went through a period in their life where it was, the whole changing of like, okay, well, I'm starting on this point of my journey and then I've gotten
yeah,
better and I decided, oh, I like this genre instead of this one. But they would talk about, some of the stuff that was dark and depressing in their life, but it had
yeah.
to come from that place inside of like telling their story and being like, okay, I went
I
through this.
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
went
do
through
love
this,
that.
but I came out as this.
Yeah,
It helped me through this time. So it's kind of the transitional type of a story,
mm,
which I think is important for kids to learn. Okay,
totally.
yeah, this is a dark time. And, like we could just say, our times right now, right now, maybe it's a dark time for them.
Right.
There's, they can't go to school, they can't see their friends, but they pick up something else of like maybe doing a video journaling or something, and they can write a song about how, oh, well, I was stuck at home, but I got into this and then it became a more positive journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
totally.
think that's important. I wanted to kind of play your song here.
Sure.
I brought that up before we kind of end things.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that
Is it Let It Go
sound
or is
is
it
good.
the?
Two Lives
Sure. Yeah. Let's
is the
do it.
one you
It hasn't
sent.
been released
Okay.
yet, but it should be out in the next couple months. I've been
Okay.
working on it a lot.
Okay, so I'll play and then you can kind of let me know how it sounds on your end.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
the producer you're watching too, Jesse, the radio station manager, let me know how it sounds too. If I need to turn it up or whatever, because
Sure.
we didn't have time to do this during the sound check. So
Right.
hopefully, yeah. Oh, hang on a second. I'll go back to Dropbox here. Okay. Hopefully we can get this going as well. With all these technical issues, things sometimes don't work.
Yeah. No worries.
Okay, we'll see. Hopefully.
I wish I had I wish I had the actual full version of Let It Go on my thing here, but I don't know if I do. If I
Okay.
can find that, I can send you that. Here, let's do that. Just so that
Sometimes
it's
it's
out and people
buffering.
can go check it out.
You
If
know,
that
you
works,
could play it off your phone on
I
your
could
end,
do that on my phone actually.
because mine's just buffering and whatever, because I think it's just,
And then you guys can let me know if I'm
yeah.
booking it.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's do it.
I know, and then the manager's like, make him sing.
Yeah, I don't have any instruments in my room actually.
Yeah.
Just go a cappella, but that might be a little weird. Just sitting.
Well, it's teach their own, but
All right.
okay.
How's that sound?
I remember smoking cigarettes in seventh grade. I loved to play every part of a renegade. I knew a girl told her that I was a thief, so I went and stole her heart up in the very same week. Oh, they come with pitchforks trying to restore all the things they've done wrong. I'll never conform to the ways of a sheep. I'm a wolf and you know. They tell me that I'm crazy. This much I know. I've been on my own for long enough now to learn to let it go. They tell me that I'm lazy. Shit, I don't know. I've been in your head for long enough now to learn to let it go. I remember going to my homie's house and his father said get out cause I looked a little different, a little mischievous. Now it's all okay and my stomach feeling great cause I didn't drink the Kool-Aid. They come with pitchforks trying to restore all the things they've done wrong. I'll never conform to the ways of a sheep. I'm a wolf and you know. How they tell me that I'm crazy. This much I know. I've been on my own for long enough now to learn to let it go. How they tell me that I'm lazy. Shit, I don't know. I've been in your head for long enough now to learn to let it go. Keep your mouth shut, line your back up. He's the big fish. Shortstop, place a label. If you're unable to understand them, make a fable. Keep pointing the blame. I'll be in sheep's clothes when you hit a new low. Don't be looking at me because I'm running a repo. Whoa. How they tell me that I'm crazy. This much I know. I've been on my own for long enough now to learn to let it go. How they tell me that I'm lazy. Shit, I don't know. I've been in your head for long enough now to learn to let it go.
There it is. I'll do that right now.
Let it go.
That was one of those songs where I kind of like, I just got home from a tour, and that's always when I got to write because the inspiration of just like seeing a bunch of new stuff is there. And I just started like in one go. I freestyled the verse melodies, the pre-chorus melodies, and the chorus melody. Just like I really like a thing that Paul McCartney said one time when he writes songs, he fills in random words and it doesn't really matter, and then he can just rewrite the song later. So I do that a lot when I'm writing now, and
That's good.
that just came out of nowhere, bang, and it's just like it's the best feeling when you get a song that you're really happy with, all kind of in like 10 minutes. Yeah,
Right? I know. I hear those stories all the time. They're like, oh, I was on the road and I wrote it in like 5 minutes, just whatever, to the concert. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the
And
actual
you're like the best ones ever. And you're like, I love it.
It's so funny. It's like the writing of the songs in total I have an album that I'm going to be releasing this year. It's looking like June, I believe, is when the record's going to come out. Haven't disclosed the title of it yet, but I'm really, really proud of it. We've kind of as a team been working on the record, just like production wise for a while. It's completely produced by Corey LaRue, who does all of Neon's records with them. And, you know, he produces for Bria May, and I can't say enough good stuff about that guy. When I met him, I was obviously really nervous because this is, years ago. And
how did you meet him?
So I opened for Neon. When did I open for them? In Moncton or something. And at the time, my friend was in the band, and who still works with Neon. He just saw something about me that he liked. I think it was more just because me and him were really similar, and I think drive is really, really important. Like, if you have the drive to do something, I think, to me, that is equally as, if not more important than the actual talent, because you can, for the most part, you can teach yourself how to do a lot of these skills. Like, you can, if you just keep writing songs, you're going to get better. And he ended up saying, like, well, come do a session with Corey and just see what happens. I started working with them, and he would put me up in his house and let me stay there, and it's just, you know, it's a great team. I'm really fortunate. But that's how I started working with them, and then it's just, we've made together probably like, I want to say like 60, 70 songs just for this album, and it's gonna be, I think, 10 tracks. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's going to be awesome. And they're going to be all like mixed up, right? They're not going to be all one genre. They're going to be.
Yeah, honestly, like it's weird because
I mean, you got
the
to tell us a little bit here.
yeah, so the whole vibe, it's the concept is basically the concept is just like I wanted to do my first album. I wanted it to be like kind of it's like a snapshot of myself at that time,
Yeah.
and it's really difficult to pick songs for it because in one sense you want it to flow like an actual project, like you're reading a story, um, but you don't want it to get monotonous because I can't stand when I'm listening to a record and it's just like sounds like
No.
it's just like a straight line the entire time. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing like there's this the closing track on the album is almost like a folk. It's like a folk. It's like a folk pop kind of song. I would call it like alternative folk music, if that makes sense. And there's
Okay.
like hip hop drums in it. Really odd way to describe it. The song that I just played is the first single on the album,
Yeah,
and then
it's
I have
dope. I really like it. I really do.
thank you
You
very
know.
much.
Yeah.
And then I have some like some hip hop esque songs on there as well. So yeah, like you said, I'm gonna keep mixing it up because I get
Yeah.
bored very quickly if I don't.
Yeah, I know I'm the same. I got to keep moving and keep doing a new project and keep, that's why, like I said, for my show, like I need to have different people on. Otherwise,
Yeah.
if I keep interviewing artists all the time, it's like, okay, well, how many other questions can I, ask somebody about their music, right?
Sure, yeah. No,
Like,
yeah, you gotta keep mixing it up,
yeah.
and it keeps it interesting for you too. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
never want to get to a point where I'm making music and it just feels like I mean I came home off this last we did a like a kind of a
a
I don't know
bubble
how to
tour.
yeah we did a bubble tour. Yeah, I was looking for the word.
That's what
Um,
I call it, a bubble tour.
Bubble tour. It was actually went very very well.
I know, it was awesome. I was like, you guys are so amazing.
Yeah, it was a little bit scary at first. I was kind of like, "Are we really
Yeah,
doing this?" But everything was safe, and we made sure that we did it the way that we should, and it kind of
yeah,
went off without a hitch. But when I got home, I was kind of like, I've finished this record. I know that we're gonna have to we're gonna do the rollout, whatever. But I'm like,
yeah,
what am I gonna do next? Because I already know the direction and the sound of this album, and I was kind of going through that, classic writer's block. And then when I got home off this tour, I just wrote a whole new EP. So I already have that in the chamber for whenever I need to drop some more stuff.
locked down, locked in there.
Yeah, it's in there. I'm
I love
excited.
it. I love when artists are just like, oh yeah, I've got like 30 songs just like on in
Yeah,
lock
they're
mode.
not all good. That's why they're not out. Some of
Yeah,
them are
yeah,
good, but some of
yeah,
them are very bad.
yeah. Well, from your last interview too, you said like, you wanted to make sure that they were good enough to be released and not just on
Yeah,
that, writing stage or whatever, which is
yeah,
good. It's important because now you are upcoming and we need to
right.
hear the best stuff from you, I think.
Yeah, you always want to make sure that what you're like putting your best foot forward because I think respect is a really important thing, especially to musicians. Like, I want to have records that are just like super fun or like you
Mhm.
can listen to them kind of when you're just like turning up with your friends. But I also want to make sure that I'm covering all bases and I don't want it to just be one thing. I don't want every song to be like me trying to make a club record, and I don't want every song to be me
Yeah.
whining, for three
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah, so it's a balance you got to keep for
Okay,
sure.
what about collaborations? Like, is there any kind of artist that you would actually love to do a collaboration with that you're like, well, I want to ask them, but I don't really know? And like, do you have anyone like on your
Honestly,
bucket list?
I really haven't even considered it. Weirdly enough, I have no collaborations on this album whatsoever. It's just me.
Yeah,
Um, Eventually I'd love to do a track with Neon, but I think that's like I want to make sure that the thing about me is I always want to make sure that I'm going into the situation, especially if I'm going to do features. I want it to be
yeah,
like, all right, I have done the work to get to a place where neither of us need a feature. It's just that it's like a natural kind of thing that happens. I
yeah,
don't ever want to be like, oh, I need to get on this song so that it'll blow
yeah,
up. And it's like,
yeah,
if it's gonna happen, it'll happen. I feel like naturally, and I think it'll happen, um, just because of like we were saying, just the consistent work. But there's a lot of artists, I mean, Canadian artists for sure. There's this guy named Alan Raymond that I'm a massive fan of, and he's really great. I don't even know what you would call his music. I guess it's alternative. And there's a lot of great artists that are coming out of Canada. So yeah. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, I for sure can see you doing something with Neon Dreams because I mean you guys are always together anyway.
Yeah.
Like I think you guys would just be like, I don't know, touring one day and you'll just be like, you know, driving around and I think you guys would be like all just kind of spitting out something and then just something will pop. Like
and
I just
that would
kind
be
of
the
see
best
that
case scenario.
happening.
It would be very much like, well, that's the thing. Like we all usually are like sharing an Airbnb together or something for the most part. So there'll be times where I'm just recording because I just throw a sock over my mic and bring it on in my suitcase everywhere. And I have like an audio interface. It's just a small one. And I, no matter where we're at, like I'll be singing melodies, and then every once in a while I hear Frank be like, "That's sick, write it," from the upstairs. Yeah, cool.
He's in the shower and you're out there singing.
Yeah. Hey, write it down. So yeah,
it's a good one.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could totally see that. Oh man. Well, Kate, is there another song that you want to play for us?
I don't know what else I got here. I'll do the next single.
Yeah.
Right, why not? Let me play it for you.
Yes. That would be amazing. And then we'll wrap up in a little bit. Boom. And those of you that are joining, thank you for coming in to Connected with Carrie, Season 2, Episode 4, with Mr. Amazing Levi Rowan.
Hello.
All the way from Newfoundland, Labrador.
Close. New Brunswick. I do love Newfoundland though.
Out that way.
Yeah, out that way.
4 hours ahead, man.
Yeah.
It's almost 2. It is 2 o'clock your time. Oh.
It's only 1:13 now.
Oh, it's only 1:13. Okay.
Yeah, we would have just been starting anyway, so I'm okay.
Yeah, he's okay, kids. He's had his Red Bull.
I had my Red Bull. I'll be awake for another 6 hours. This song is called Two Lives. I was in where was I? I was doing the U.S. tour around the time that COVID started to kind of happen, way back. And this was like at a time where I had been with somebody and it just kind of didn't work out. And it was at the same time that I was like, everybody was like, all right, we're going to the States and we're going to California and you have to shoot a music video and all of this stuff. And when I was a kid growing up, that was kind of, I grew up watching like shows like Californication is one of my favorite shows of all time. I don't know why. I love David Duchovny. I like X-Files too. He's great.
No, it's awesome. Yeah. I love NCIS LA.
Oh yeah, totally. But that was always like California for me when I was a kid, because I grew up like basically in the woods, super small town. I graduated with like 30 kids, and I always looked at Los Angeles as like, man, one day if I could get there, everything would be great. And I was kind of in that position where I was finally getting to go see these things. And I know for some people that's just like a trip for them, but I didn't go on a lot of trips growing up or anything like that. So I was excited. Anyways, moral of the story is that basically in that time, if you're mentally dealing with stuff, it's like you're just so inside your own head that you almost miss the entire trip. So I wrote a song about that. And this is that.
Yo, what the hell is your problem? You're gone for a week and you're already acting like this. You're honestly pathetic. I can't deal with you right now. You're honestly so pathetic.
I was in LA for like 2 nights. You took my life and never gave shit back. I was in my head for like 2 lives. Yeah. Wait. Did you really like me? Well, I think it was all a pipe dream. Good time, movie of the century. Cut ties for a better ending. You can never change, I exonerate. Chasing the whole thing, not a thing. Got a problem with your face. Two-faced, I accommodate. I got a lot of space, yeah. Hey, I was in LA for like 2 nights. You took my life and never gave shit back. I was in my head for like 2 lives. For like 2 lives, for like like 2 nights. I was in LA for like 2 nights. You took my life and never gave shit back. I was in my head for like 2 lives, for like 2 lives. A little fame can change a lot of things. A little distrust can erupt in a lot of pain. A little game, feeling petty, this a boatload full of hope. You can never change, I exonerate. Chasing the whole thing, not a thing. Got a problem with your face. Two-faced, I accommodate. I got a lot of space, yeah. Hey, I was in LA for like 2 nights. You took my life and never gave shit back. I was in my head for like 2 lives, for like 2 lives, for like 2 lives. I was in LA for like 2 nights. You took my life and never gave shit back. I was in my head for like 2 lives, for like 2 lives. I was in LA for like 2 nights. You took my life and never gave shit back. I was in my head for like 2 lives, for like 2 lives, for like 2 lives. I was in LA for like 2 nights. You took my life and never gave shit back. I was in my head for like 2 lives, for like 2 lives, for like 2 lives. I was in LA for like 2 nights. You took my life and never gave shit back. I was in my head for like 2 lives, for like 2 lives.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Thank you.
I heard you play it on your other interview, and I was like, it reminds me of like Coldplay and just like
I love Coldplay.
like the punk, you know, like the punk.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the band Pretty Much?
Yes, I've heard of them. I haven't listened to a whole lot of their music though. They're good, eh?
Oh, yeah, they're really good. They're
I'd love to check
like
them out.
similar type of style, and it's just like they're fun. Like they're fun to listen to,
Yeah.
just like that song. It's like it kind of gets you going and whatever.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's
it's
I
fun.
wanted to make a song, or at least I wanted to release a song next because the Let It Go is like it's really fun and upbeat. But I was just talking about being younger and people kind of always pointing the finger and being like, hey, that's the bad kid who's doing this and that. And I didn't want to, I already told that. So I'm like, all right, let me drop something that's more at least relevant to me in the last year, and also kind of just make a song that people are going to be able to like listen to in their cars with their friends and be like, yeah,
Yeah,
because,
totally.
those are a lot of my favorite songs, and I feel like I
Yeah.
did it. So yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love the whole summer vibing type of a song where you're
Yeah.
driving, windows are down, and all your friends are like,
Yeah, totally.
drinking milkshakes or Slurpees or whatever, and
Yeah.
just living it up. So yeah, I love
Totally.
that. I love what you're doing,
Thank you.
and I can't wait to see what else you come up with. And so of course, I would love to have you come back on again in maybe a
I
couple
would
months.
love to be on. Yeah. I mean, even when the record drops, it'd be cool. I think,
Yeah.
if we can do that, that'd be
It'd
great.
be fun, and then I'll have you on my other platform too, which is Underground Radio C, and then you can steal some time on there and do
Yeah.
whatever you want and play some
Whatever
music,
you need.
do an album
Whatever you
drop,
need.
whatever you want to do.
You were
It'll be
there
fun.
when I was you were there when I
Exactly.
was selling merch.
I know. He
So
sold me
it's
this
really
shirt,
cool.
everyone.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like that, and it's always cool when people say like, "Hey, I remember you were selling merch." Like that's crazy, and they'll see me at a show now doing. I mean, even the stage presence and the outfits, like the outfits that I have on stage, I just love kind of switching it up with each release. I plan on doing. Big reason why I'm such a massive fan of The Weeknd is like every album he comes with a new aura and he comes with a new kind of like storyline just with his clothing and stuff, and I love that. And I really love the 70s and the 60s era, so that's kind of what you're getting into if you see a show is like, I'm going to be acting very wild on stage, and I'm going to be wearing some pretty wild stuff. So if you're
So
into
be
that,
careful.
see,
Yes, your
be
mom was
careful.
telling me that she's on wardrobe, so
Yeah, she's got a really good eye for just picking out some wild stuff, and it's like sometimes I'm just like, where did you even? I have this jacket that has all these embroidered flowers on it, and it's like this super long, almost like it's like a long coat.
yeah.
And I'm just like, where did you even find that? And she's just like, I don't remember.
She's
But
like, I don't know, I can't tell you the story because I jacked it from someone's house.
Yeah. Yeah, she robbed somebody outside of Value Village. Yeah.
Well, maybe
Not
she
crazy.
did. She was probably out shopping one day and she's like, oh, I'll pop into this little antique store and
That's probably what happened. Yeah.
saw it in the corner.
I doubt my mom's living a double life as like a serial killer. I don't know, but you never know,
Probably.
I guess.
She
Yeah,
probably
probably. Probably.
is.
Yeah.
Shout out to moms though.
Shout
They're
out to serial killer
important.
moms everywhere.
Woo! Exactly. Okay, we're gonna wrap up now. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on. You're
Thank you for
amazing.
having me. That
I
was
love
great.
all your work you're doing and all your like just seeing your whole journey so far is I'm like it's really cool to know you honestly and just being like, oh yeah, he sold me this shirt one day and now he's up on the stage and I'll be
Thank you.
hopefully sign, you'll sign one of your shirts for me one day, hopefully.
Totally. I'm gonna do merch for this album drop, I believe. I would love to go on tour. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but either
Yeah.
way, I'm gonna make
Well,
something.
you can tour, you can tour virtually.
I
There's
think that's
always
gonna be
that.
the plan. Yeah, set up a
Yeah.
bunch of cameras and make it like a really crazy experience.
Yeah.
Other than that, just to let people know, if you want to hear the music, you can check me out on Instagram. I post my music videos and stuff on there at levi.rowan. And other than that, Levi Rowan on YouTube if you want to see videos, and follow my TikTok. We'll get
TikTok.
at it. Follow my TikTok. You can see me
Yeah.
make dirty
TikToks.
jokes all day.
And then send him some information on some ideas for his TikToks. And
Yeah, and I'll steal your jokes too if you want to send me them. Yeah.
that's perfect. You can do a joke book, or you should make a song on jokes or something. Might be interesting.
Doing a joke book would actually be awesome. I don't know if you know who Dimitri Martin is, but he's this comedian who wrote a book of like it's just jokes, and they're all like they're like dad jokes, and I will just read through that constantly and laugh
And
my
you're
head
just like,
off.
do it,
Yeah.
do it. So in the next year, I want a whole Levi dad jokes book or
Yes, I'm gonna make it happen. I'll start tonight.
whatever. Okay. If your mom is watching, I don't know if she's watching. She might be sleeping, but tell her
Yeah, I
that's.
wouldn't blame her.
Yeah.
If she was sleeping. I wouldn't blame her if she was sleeping.
All her shopping sprays, she's tired.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Say hi to your mom for me too.
Shout out moms everywhere. Will do.
Yeah. Give her a big hug for me and tell her you're amazing and tell her thank you for lending me to you for the evening too. That was very
Sounds
nice.
good.
Okay, have a great day. And
All
thank
right,
you again
take care.
for everyone tuning in as well. And we'll have you back soon. Levi, you're amazing.
Awesome.
Congratulations on your successes so far. And we will see you so soon. Have a great night.
All right.
Get some
See you
sleep.
guys.
Enjoy.
Thanks.
Okay, good night.